Yo, yo, yo. It's cold in this bitch. I need food. Let me know if you can hear me, anybody. Hope nobody bums me. I will appreciate. Not a need. Need that beard comb. The beard brush. Can you hear me, Mum? Right, I'm going for a snack. See what I've got. Shout out the TV. And the shorts. Somebody just said the Chromecast to me on the TV. Shout out to the Chromecast crew. Usually. That was too much. Alright, let's pop it. This is how coders eat, by the way. The aircon too cold. Watch the beard. to the man cave. Let's get a to-do list. We're gonna just work on the shaders, the class. Okay, so we need a new member function. Pass in the object file. Okay, home is. So I'm rewriting a. It's already hot again. At least. Rewriting a function that will load a 3D model. Very simple. It should be. It's just not giving me the desired result. So we're creating a object which is a string stream. So we will pass through the caller function, the previous function, one line of text at a time, and then we'll put that text into an object called a string stream. And then I'm getting this model, this class from ChatGPT. So I just need hope at this stage. I want to save a week. And then we're creating another string object. And where I think it's going with this is the line that we pass through. It'll be a full line of text or numbers. We're going to have a string stream, and then they will need parsing, they will need separating. So we will put each between the comma, each coordinate that's separated by a comma into the identifier, one at a time. Nope. It's not doing that. Let's see what the first element is. If it's a V, creating a vector of 3 points, X, Y, Z. And then we're putting it in. We're extracting coordinates, basically. By the way, if you think this is me teaching you when I'm in a war zone, no. This is me coding. Teaching comes when I've been to sleep. Nowhere does it say teaching. Have a look. It says drinking. Okay, so if the first line of text begins with a V, it means what's coming on the rest of the line of vertices, 3 of them. So then it will extract from the string stream 3 objects that come after the V, which will be X, Y, Z coordinates. It will look something like, the line will look like V space, some coordinates. We'll spice it up with a minus or a negative. We'll negate it. So then those 3 will each go into the 3 components, the vertex, then we'll put that vertex in a library, a vector. Vertices. And this will eventually build up a full model, all the vertices of a 3D object. Okay, so that's the vertices handled. If identifier equals VT, which might be textures, so it's similar, but it's looking for the coordinates of the texture, which means we're able to put an image over the 3D model. So if it's a face, it would just be pure white, and then you put some texture on it. Person. Okay, so if the first line of text is V2, vertices texture, we'll do the same thing. So there's a library in C++ called GLM, and it's a math library, I forgot what it stands for. I'll create vector 2, so X and Y. It's going to be texture coordinates. And all this is very easy once you understand and you get used to seeing the syntax. But there's a lot of edge cases in models where they don't quite follow the pattern, and just one bit of text that's wrong will just destroy the whole model, which is what I did. So I started again. Hi, Dad. We're doing the same thing, and then we're going to get texture chords, which, by the way, exists here. So we can speed things up and just give it a little copy paste, push back the vector 2. Okay. By the way, I think YouTube are against my ascension, because I've got at least 3 friends watching and it says just 1. They're trying to stop me from rising. They're lying. Okay. So another else if statement. If the identifier, if the first line of the text is an F, and that's the face, I think. So which way is the vertice facing, in or out? Is it inside the object? If you've created a model of a house, the software needs to know, are you indoors or are you outdoors? Not just the coordinates. If it was a stick man, you wouldn't need that, but if it's a 3D object with walls, Why is my keyboard breaking? I paid for this. No, the first one is the normal, not the face. So the normal, I think, is the angle of the slope. So you can do light calculations. String stream. So the string stream represents the current line of text that we're on. I'm happily cheating. I'm using ChatGPT. Because it's something I've done a few times. So I don't mind that. But I don't like to copy and paste too much. If it's very easy or easy, I'll copy and paste. If it's intermediate or nearly intermediate, I won't copy and paste, because even if you're copying and typing like this, you're learning, you're reinforcing what you already know. So we're creating 3 unsigned integers, so 3 numbers basically that won't be minus. We might not need all these. And now a char data type is instead of a string, which is a full word, a char is short for character, so it would just be 1. So like you might code a program that asks, are you male or female? M or F, you would store it in a char because it's just one letter, 1 character. We're doing a for loop. What's the for loop going to be? Okay, a loop is when you're going to perform the same thing more than once, but it's slightly different each time. Hence a loop. So we're going to do this loop 3 times. We're going to loop through the string stream, so it means we're going to do 3 lines. And we're going to take the vertex index. The I represents the number of the loop that you're in, so loop 0, loop 1, loop 2. So we're going through the text, we're taking out which number of vertex we're on, and then the slash will be what's separating the vertices, like a space or a comma maybe. And then we're taking the text chord. You're not going to understand what I'm explaining unless you already understand some of it. Put a paste because I'm going to get a typo. And I'm struggling with screen space. I need a 3rd screen. Indices. I have no indices. I didn't think so. So vertices are the coordinates for all the mesh, the model, the lines in a 3D model, that sort of characterize the wall. And the indices are optional, but they're the numbering, in what order you draw the lines. Otherwise, you could have opposite corners attaching to wrong walls, and so on. Which was my problem. So I had trees, but the branches were going weird. Let me show you. By the way, I think I remember now. GLM is graphics library mathematics. Yeah, that's your linear algebra. I don't often forget things. Actually, my friends just messaged me to remind me. I don't know why I thought that was going to work with a big typo. The beer is gone. So we have terrain. Now if I load this model of a tree, this is working. The vertices or the vertex or vertices of the lines. And we're going through a text file which each line of text will give the coordinates for each dot, for each point in the vertices. This is loading fine. It's obviously very boring, very simple. I think there's another one. If we load a house, a wireframe. So then you've got a vertices here, indoors and outdoors. This one's a bit big. Don't say it. But we can make it half the size. Get rid of the wireframe. But if I'm going to make a game engine and a game, we need to import models. Now, creating the tools to rotate them, like you'd rotate a character or anything moving. I've already coded a lot of that, some of the harder stuff. But I, at some point, broke the ability to to import models properly. Sometimes in coding, you'll fix something and you break something else, but because you've got 20,000 words of code or 100,000, you don't know you broke something until 2 months later. And then you're like, I can fix that easily next week. You're just excited about the current thing you've created. I coded the lighting. So there's a light system running. We can choose, this would be like the sun, the moon, the weather, torches. You can see it's only affecting the particular model. This is all intentional. You might have a blue light as well, and you've got different lights packed in the scene at different strengths. But the tool I was creating was this one here, where you would load a model, load like 10,000. So you just type tree in and it would just put trees all over the world, and I broke it. I hope it's still broke, by the way. Otherwise I'm wasting my time. I'm checking the news. What's going on in world news? Okay, let's continue. So the indices will give us the order. So vertices will give us the order of the lines, the vertices. Thank you, ready. Okay, I'm not convinced that's completely finished, but apparently it is. Load object. So here is we will load the name arrows, type in the name of the tree, you load the name, get the line, you pass the line, get the line, object file to line. Then the function we just wrote was parse object line, and we pass in every one of the lines individually of the text. So now it will go through a complete file, line by line, and it will take one line, go to this function, and run every single line of text, every coordinate through that function 20,000 times, just to import one model. And that's happening in 0.001 seconds. Okay, and apparently we're closing the file. Okay, we're going to copy and paste here. So some files will have the same file name. Some files will also have a material file. If file exists. No, we don't. File exists. We want this. So we'll come to that. Okay, my files won't have, my objects won't have material, so this can be, and this can be copied basically. Texture. When you've written a function multiple times, it becomes less inspiring. Okay, we need to load textures. Control and period, by the way, control and full stop will give you the description. I'm not sure this is going to work. Wait a minute. Should be good. TBI load. There we are. That was wrong. It's fixed. Yep. Okay, so this line of code, file exists, I think is a Windows function, and I'd have to add additional libraries to use that. So I'm filling ChatGPT to be practical. Let's see. So instead of checking if it exists, we're checking if it's open. We don't need to add anything, any extra applications or whatever for that. We're just trying to open it. So if it opens, we'll go to load material function, and then we can go to the load texture function, which is the one we just wrote. We did all that work. And I don't even remember if this is still tied to the buttons or not. Object importer. So I still have an object importer. Yeah, the buttons still work. So let's test that. Nice. These are the worst errors already defined. Okay. Eliminated that error. It's still not going to draw, but we can see if it's loading it and going through the text. So, for example, which it might not be. Let's see if it even tries to open the file name. I'm going to press load. Okay, so it's detected I've pressed the button load. Press next, and it's now going to check if the file opens or not. If it goes here, it means the file didn't open. If it goes here, it means it's going to go through the file, which is what's going to happen. So now it's opened a text file and it's going to go through 1,000 lines of that tree. And what we would do is we will we will see what the first line is if it begins with a V or whatever. So the first line began with V, so it came to this function. And it's all inside the stream. So with inside the stream, you can see there's 3 numbers, the X, the Y, and the Z. And it'll place those, and we'll go through those one at a time. And then it will do that 1,000 times. And it's put it into a vector, a catalogue of all the models in the world to draw. But that might crash, it might not. It might do anything. But we haven't told it to draw, but it's now in the computer's memory. Okay, goodbye. Okay, what's next? I think it sets up buffers. So a buffer is it's a data space that will send the data to the graphics card to draw, which we've got ready here. These are buffers. So buffers. So OpenGL bind vertex array called the VAO. That means we've got that buffer, and to bind it means whatever we do next will be done to this buffer. Every graphic command will be related to this. And we'd send in some data. GL array buffer. We're sending some data. And the data we're sending to the GPU is from the vertices. First thing it wants to know is the size. So the size of the vertices. So like 100 lines of text times by the size of a vector, because each of those lines has 3 coordinates in. The rest is going to get some copy and paste treatment, because I've done this 1,000 times. I'm going to weep. So we're sending the vertices, and then we're sending the indices. Let's draw some shit. Okay, we need a shader. So a shader is the code that runs on the graphics card. This code will run on the processor, the CPU. A shader is a different language we're going to code in. And that will tell the graphics card how to draw the vertices, which is a more complex language. The shader we need is very easy. Let's have a look. So the shader will have a number which the graphics card will give us. So it will be stored in the OpenGL unsigned integer, number above -1. You thought I was going to say above 0. You're slow. Okay, Homer. We're creating 3 functions. We're creating ChatGPT. These are some very easy functions. Actually, I have the same functions elsewhere in my code. What we've got? Create shader program. This could all be done in one function, to be honest. All 5 of them. It's a bit overkill. It's very neat, but it's just too much. Of course, we need the use shader. Anytime you draw anything, you have to bind a particular shader, and each one of these models will have its own shader, its own way of being drawn potentially. For example, there might be one object that interacts differently with a different light source. Things that are indoors will interact with things that are outdoors, so you might have a different shader. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. So let's see, if we draw, the first thing we want to do is call that the use shader. Not the user shader. And that will call this program shader program in shader. Better change, there we go. Okay. Just making sure nothing's changed. The shader code, I'm just getting now. Create shader program. Why does it think that doesn't exist? I'll show you that. It's there. It's spelled wrong. What's the error? Oh, it's the name of the program. Oh, that'll be it. So on the left is what's called the header file. These are the main functions that your program is going to use. So we're saying we're going to have a function that loads objects, a function that loads materials, one that sets up a buffer. And then on the right, but only because I put it on the right, normally it might just be one screen at a time. But on the right is where we're filling out the code. But you can call these anything, it will work. It's your own creation. It'll work. Compile shader. That should definitely work. Which it probably will now. Yep. Okay. So normally you'd write the code for the shader in a text file. Create shader program. And you'd send the text file to the function, but we're just going to hard code it. So in the brackets, on the yellow is the function name, and the brackets and the parameters are any type of data that you might send to this function. But we're not sending it anything. And this isn't going to work, but it should. That's coding. But it's going to tell you what's wrong, and then you fix it. So when can you use ChatGPT to do something like this? When you understand 70% of what you're reading, you can use ChatGPT. Maybe 80%. Or if you're just forgetful. If you understand 80%, you can use it. And it's all actually very basic. It just doesn't look like it because there's so many words that you, so much syntax, so many colors. But what I'm wondering now, by the way, not crashing, it still obviously hasn't worked. I wasn't expecting it to crash. What I'm wondering is, the code it's given me is just wrong. It's just wrong anyway. And let me close this and show you why. This is why you need to know 80%, because that's enough to think something's missing. So first off, there's no texture. We don't have a texture, so when we send the texture coordinates, it'll be none, which is why it might break. What we need to do, so what ChatGPT is really good at is debugging, and it will be very, very cautious. And so it's put some functions in that will check if things crashed, if the shaders were okay. Check compiler or check shader error. Linking. Check link errors. So now it's going to go through the shader code, which was the orange one. It's going to tell us if there's any errors in this. Because it's a different language, Visual Studio won't tell us if it's wrong. It just won't work. But we've coded some function that will do it for us. You'll see now. But there's also other things that are wrong anyway. Wait a minute, I don't like that. Create shader program. When does that take place? Problem is, it's not even getting to this. So this function is never called. So what we would do is, once we load the object, this is why you need to know 80%. You thought it was pure cheating, didn't you? But no. I know some shit. Okay, so we load the object, we go through the file, we go see if it's got any materials, then we set up the buffers, which is ready to draw it. And then, so before we draw it, we need to set up shaders. So we're gonna call the function. So now it's not gonna work, but for a different reason. Okay, so what's the first thing it's done? Let's go to the console. Okay, you can't see the console, but I'm going to console, terminal. Okay, so it's loaded. It didn't find any materials, but it did load the object. Now, let's go through. Second. I don't think I can get you to see this just yet. But I wanted to show you the code. Check compile, everybody check. Right, shader. Okay, let's load it again. And what I can do, actually, I can go through one line at a time. Okay. Let's compile two shaders. Let's go here. We have no shader errors. But it didn't go here. Shader. Compile shader ran twice. Link. The most important is to check for linking. If there's a linking error, else. I want to see if there's so far no compile errors. Check compile error.
It doesn't like this function. I mean, it's going there.
So what we're going to do is, this is important because I need to see if it's giving me any errors. Shader. So these are breakpoints. The red things on the left is where the program function stops. Check. Oh, that was very useless. Sorry. Let's get rid. Here we go. Checking compile errors. That means it actually ran the function and there was no errors. What did we have there? No link error. I saw it. No linking errors. Okay, so now it should be drawing, I think. So let's see. See why it's not. So pos is the position, the vertices. Remember, we checked if it was a V, then we'd give that X, Y, and Z, which would go into the vector of 3. So this is all going to the graphics card. So we're sending the texture coordinates and the normals, and this is getting sent, setting up the buffers here, the vertices. Should got a new line, 80%. Sending texture coordinates, but I think it's empty. So let's have a look. When do we set up the buffers? After creating the shader program, which is here, 2 shaders, compile, create the program. This shader.
This world has room for everyone.
I'm going to send it all to ChatGPT.
The good earth is rich. It can provide for everyone.
I think I'm missing it in the linear algebra world of things. I think we need some matrices to orientate the model. Like, so we've got all the vertices, like the first point, first join is at 0, 1, blah blah blah. The next one is here, but that's just the object. That object is going into the world. So the vertices are the vertices we have are part of the model model matrices, but then we have to put it into a world context. So what are the coordinates of the world it belongs in? And we don't have that, so it's not drawing it anyway. It knows how to draw it, but in relation to itself, but not in relation to the world. ChatGPT is correcting me, saying I don't need any of those because I'm not transforming it. So it might suggest that it just draws it at 0, 0, the origin, the world origin, which is where the terrain starts. I don't know if that's accurate, actually. Okay. I've asked ChatGPT if it's sure, and it's not sure. Okay. So what we do is we change this shader. This is called the vertex shader for the vertices, and we add some uniforms. Uniforms are just variables that we will send the model, which is going to give a matrices some data of where the object lives, the view, which is that angle, like at what point, what angle is it being viewed from, and then the projection. For example, you have different screen sizes and like ratios. So this was linear algebra. It can get quite complex. It's not too hard to code because GLM does it all for you. But you need that 80%, so when it don't work. Okay. I just feel like this is never going to work, but I've told ChatGPT what's up. Where are we? Draw. Give me that draw function. Okay, so here, this is all we need to draw it, which is just not. So this is what we need. Don't like that. Why is it on that? But it's not an identifier because it's there. Come on, Homer. Oh. Maybe there's an extra bracket, yep. Okay, it will work now. I don't need that because elsewhere I have something called projection. And view will be camera.get view matrix. That's a function I wrote earlier. I mean, what was that? Don't worry me. That's some strange stuff. So we use our shader here that we hopefully fixed. Create a model matrix, which is an identity matrix, which means default. No, view's good. So when you move the camera around, you're changing the view matrices. And then that is multiplied by every vertex, every line of the whole world of the game. And it gives you a new angle. It's beautiful. Okay, I need to see if there's any textures. Oh, I was curious. Things shouldn't be breaking yet because I haven't had time to break them. Let's go. Clear off. Someone's not happy, that someone is me. Because it's also not following my breakpoints. Right, this is where you get the solo cam. I'm just going to restart Visual Studio. The red dot's on the side where I want it to stop the flow of the program. It's not stopping. The debugging tool needs debugging. What do you do at that stage? Set up buffers, right? By the way, we're back. Wow, maybe that function's not being called. I think it is. But it's good if not, because then it's usually a quick fix. Okay, setup buffers is being called. It just doesn't like debugging it. No linking errors. What we need is so these as it took Visual Studio off me. These here, these are all the files we will look at. Main. Okay. linking errors. Let's see what we got here. No linking errors, buffer setup, OpenGL error before load AI scene. Here we are. Okay. So in the vertex shader, there is an error. So Visual Studio doesn't tell us about this error. This is why we've had to do this. Compilation. And which line? Line 2. Vertex. Wait a minute. Wait a friggin' minute. That's not code. Sweet. What's fixed? Just want to be able to import objects and then have people in my game. I want to play. Okay, no linking errors. Which is bad news because I don't see a tree. Oh, where's my tree gone? There's a tree here. We'll do this. Okay. No linking errors, buffer set up. Checking compile errors. Okay, so what I'm going to do is tell ChatGPT to print out how many items we have in each of these. Okay. I want to print these out to the screen, like this stupid console. That's what I'm going to do next. If it keeps going wrong, I'm going to have my own debugging tool on my own screen, my own game. What time is it? 2 AM. How did that happen? Okay, give me a tree. Why is it working all of a sudden? It's all of a sudden pausing. One is Microsoft Console. Yeah, there's no texture coordinates. That's why it's not. The code is not coded. So we're sending this data to the graphics card. Texture coordinate. We're then passing out to the next shader. Passing in. Yep, this is why it's not working. The dickhead. Because all the vertices that it's drawing will give a colour to, so the tree will be green, brown. And then it's taking the texture values and multiplying the number. So if it's red, it might be like 10 red, 3 blue, the strength of it. It'll multiply that data by the numbers within the texture, which is all 0, which will give you colour 0. So there's nothing to do. Now this might not be why it's not working, but this is definitely one reason why it definitely wouldn't work. Take out all texture related data. I don't fam. Okay, Hammer. So we can. Okay, let's have a look. So we're no longer receiving texture coordinates, we're no longer passing them to this shader, which is the fragment shader. A fragment is like a fragment of point, the pixels, the dot. This is receiving no data. It wants to make everything white. And then also texture coordinates. Let's just not send it. Seen better trees than that before. I don't like this invalid operation that I'm seeing. Yeah, there's no tree. Okay, let's see what's wrong. The vertices and normals. Draw uses a shader program. Do you know what? Is that even used? We create a shader. Yes, we create the program. source. Source. That's the problem. I think. Okay, models. Okay, this is a lesson for us all. So when we create a tree, it goes into the vector called models. So then every tree, everything we load, will go here. And then what we do, we go through a loop. We loop through all of those models, and we call the function model.draw, and then models.draws it. But I wasn't doing that because I was debugging yesterday or the day before. And then I forgot. I forgot to put it back. So it wasn't even trying to draw it. But at least we fixed the broken code, because it was broke. As I said, it won't work. Let's just make sure draw is now being called. Okay, so now it's trying to draw. I could have checked that before. Okay, now it's crashed in a new place, which is progress. So now we go to the, suppose not. Sorry that you couldn't see. What I can do, it's small here. Maybe even like this. Go to the stack call, it will tell us crash done. Makes sense. Crash there. Under the exception. I think it's because I haven't banned the EBO. So we're basically telling it to draw the triangles, to draw the cities. I'm just asking ChatGPT why it hasn't drawn it. Might be that This is just so simple, it shouldn't be going wrong. Okay, no errors when loading. Six sides of indices. I thought I fixed it, but no. I wonder if the problem is that I don't have a view matrix fully set up yet. Let's render it later. Let's render it. Where do I want to render it? There. I'm going to ask Google because ChatGPT don't know. Well, I know the problem. I've learned something. I don't know if it was worth 2 days. No, 1 day. What's that, 3 hours? Doesn't mean I fixed it. If it breaks now, it's for a different reason. It's the coding way. There we go. There's my tree. Okay, that is progress. That is progress. Let's see what the lines are like. Yeah, that's a beautiful tree. You can see it's drawn at 0, 0, which is where the wall starts. Let me show you the home is. Okay. But yeah, we're at least drawing. I just need to look at the maths. Let's check go. Oh, yeah. Come on, cat. Say hi. Come on then. Say hi to the homies. Okay. So let me see what I need to change. Okay, let's check the code. Everything is white. So it's going to be a bit more green than anything. Green and blue. Excuse me. Too much beer in my stomach. Okay, I'm going to come off stream after this one. Still not working.